Hi, my name is Ranger Marguerite, and welcome to the original lands of the Abenaki people. I am a park ranger here at Marsh-Billings-Rockefeller National Historical Park, and we are about to head inside the mansion to show you an exhibit of some of the Hudson River School paintings. Hudson River School represents the first American art movement in the United States. It was the first time that American painters were being recognized for their talents because they're painting something largely unique that had never been represented by any other artist in the world, and that is American wilderness. Iconic scenes that begin in the Hudson River Valley by Thomas Cole of Niagara, traveling up the Hudson River Valley, eventually to the west, depicting mountainous scenes of iconic places like Yosemite. The depiction of these wild places of America helped to elevate the American mind into looking at land in new ways that ultimately lead to their protection. So let's go inside the mansion and check out the paintings. I am standing next to a painting that is probably one of the most iconic landscape paintings in the entire collection here at Marsh-Billings-Rockefeller National Historical Park. It is a painting that was completed by Thomas Cole in 1830. It is an iconic scene of Niagara Falls. As you see, when you look at all of the details, it's a primeval wilderness. It is a dark painting with brooding sky and dark clouds and flowing water, sublime elements that are worked into the landscape that show the power of nature and also hence the power of God. There's a sense of spirituality that's often imbued in these paintings depicted by Cole. Of course, there's the Niagara Falls, which represents flowing water, a change of a passage of time in essence, because water is a moving thing. We also have the changing sky, the dark brooding sky opening up to light. We have the changing dark foliage. So in many ways, Cole is representing a landscape of change, a time before Europeans, before they made their mark upon this landscape. When Thomas Cole completes this painting in 1830, Niagara is already developed. There are already thousands of people flocking to the shores, and structures and buildings dotting the landscape. We know this because Thomas Cole includes these in sketches that he completes in place when he's at Niagara in the 1820s, when he visits there. So it's really interesting is that he completes this painting later after he returns to his London studio, and he depicts a place that doesn't reflect the actual thing that he sees. He depicts a place that is changed forever. And this striking imagery in the minds of Americans is really powerful, because as Americans begin to travel the continent and begin to see these landscapes for themselves, it reflects an idea upon themselves that these are places worth protecting. And Hudson River art, Thomas Cole being the founding artist of this style of landscape art, would help set the stage to send this message about what nature actually means to the American people.
Hi, my name's Julia. I'm an interpretive ranger here at Marsh-Billings-Rockefeller National Historical Park. Today I have the opportunity to present to you one of the premier paintings in the Billings-Rockefeller collection. This is Cathedral Rocks, a depiction of Yosemite done by Albert Bierstadt. Albert Bierstadt was an artist who was born in Germany in 1930, but spent the majority of his life in the United States. He did go back to Dusseldorf for many years to study painting, but the majority of his works are rather grand, scenic paintings that have been placed within the genre of the Hudson River School. So let's start just by looking at the painting. You can see it's rather dramatic. There is dark, there is light. It shows light on these rocks. There's almost a diagonal line through the middle of it, which depicts dark and light. You often see this in Hudson River School paintings. And the point with a lot of these paintings done in the mid to late 1800s, originally starting with Thomas Cole a little bit earlier, was the idea of presentation of nature as something grander than the actual factual reality. So while this is a specific place, we're actually seeing something that is meant to lift us into, the word often used is a sublime state. So this is very much in character with the genre and also with Bierstadt's painting. This painting and Bierstadt's place within the Hudson River School and a cultural movement that led to pride in grand American landscapes, and that pride eventually led to almost a patriotism that led to Abraham Lincoln signing the Yosemite Grant Act in 1864, which created Yosemite as our nation's first public land. Historians have sometimes argued about Bierstadt's relevancy. Was he really just a painter who was carrying out the European version of Manifest Destiny, painting places that Europeans were moving westward to take over? Or was he in fact a significant contributor to the creation of this emerging conservation movement? Whatever way you see it, he was very much a notable artist.
My name is Daniel, and this painting behind me is Sunset in Yosemite Valley by William Bradford. He grew up in New Bedford, Massachusetts, like his slightly younger contemporary Albert Bierstadt. Bradford turned to art in middle life and is best known for his depictions of ships and Arctic scenes. You can see in this painting the stunning view of the valley as Bradford captures Cathedral Rocks and El Capitan along the iconic Merced River. As you look across the ground, you notice this is a winter scene as well. Artists were using cadmium yellow for the first time to create sunsets like this one in the late 1800s. Bradford places the light source in the middle of his painting here, and there are many other examples of this in his other works.
Hi, I'm Ranger Jen here at the park, and I'm going to be talking about this particular painting today. This is Sunset at Lake George by John Kensett, and this is a good example of our second to last period in the Hudson River School, which is dealing with luminism as one of the main characteristics of that particular group. This was actually the last painting that was painted by John Kensett. He lived from 1816 to 1872, and this was painted in 1872. It's a simple composition with profound stillness and diffused light. There is a real change to an introspective quality with the painting now, a quiet nature versus the romantic earlier paintings, and this introspective quality reflecting a tendency towards a more personal and contemplative mode of expression, especially with Kensett, but with the group in general at this time. Light becomes much more important than detailed accuracy, and the sense of a divine presence in this glow of light that you see. The glow, there was a different sense of divinity from the earlier works, where the glow itself permeated everything, and all nature in and of itself, in and of its own nature, was part of that divinity as shown through the light during this time of luminism.
The paintings of this collection represent the most emblematic characteristics of Hudson River School. And they're the most significant collection for Frederick Billings because not only do they reflect his ideology in landscape preservation and in conservation, but his family values as well, which are supported by the family for 3 generations. Hudson River art, represented by Thomas Cole, whose sublime landscapes, the mountainous scenes by Albert Bierstadt, the autumnal scenes by Asher Durand and others, are really significant pieces that help to move Americans into looking at land in new ways that ultimately lead to its protection and the creation of national parks. So thank you for joining with me today and my colleagues to bring you this video on the Hudson River art collection of Marsh-Billings-Rockefeller National Historical